Fridge mutual aid mission to feed our friends and neighbors in the community. So in solidarity, welcome. Thank you so much for coming here and showing some interest in our mission. If all of our team organizers could kind of wave for like an awkward amount of time, just so everybody knows who they're kind of directing their attention to. There's about 15 of us. So
wave fire, Lisa. Arms up.
Great. While we wait, I'm going to hand it over to Velma, another team organizer, who's going to sort of do a little icebreaker in the chat. So go for it, Velma.
Cool. So I'm doing an emoji called, I'm doing an icebreaker called put an emoji if. So you can either do it on the reactions part of Slack, or you can do it in the chat, either or. But my first one is, it's a really tough one, but put an emoji if you like pizza. Gluten-free counts. So
Can I raise my hand?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Also, if you didn't raise your hand, it's very sus if you don't want pizza. But my next one is put an emoji if you were raised and born in Chicago. Nice. Those who didn't raise their hand, can someone get off me and say where they're from?
I'm from St. Louis.
Nice.
I'm from Savannah, Georgia.
Ohio.
Texas.
North Dakota.
California.
Velma, where's the emojis in Zoom?
Yeah, where are the emojis? I'm from New Hampshire. Hi.
So if you go to reactions, they have like a couple emojis.
I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
I'm from Colombia.
I love how we are all from different places. It's dope.
I'm from Chicago by way of Naperville.
I'm glad you didn't say Chicago. I really appreciate
I wouldn't dare.
All right, the next one is put an emoji if you heard about the Love Fridge from Instagram. It's our way of moving around and organizing with Instagram, so that's pretty cool. And the last one is raise your hand if you're looking to get more involved with the Love Fridge. Dope. I hope y'all like that. It's the least cringy icebreaker I've had since we've gone to Zoom. So, and next, I'm just going to introduce Ash, who's our CFO, also financial treasurer, all the things basically, and Ramon, who kind of got everything together. He brought this initiative to Chicago, which is really cool, and started our Instagram page. And we're all here because of Ramon. So guys, take it away.
Thanks, Velma. We appreciate Velma putting this together. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so it's exciting to see all these faces. I want to just say welcome again. We're all here for the same cause, so let's do this. Thank you for showing your interest. And if you have any questions during this entire meeting, I'm going to direct you over to the Zoom chat. You can ask questions in real time throughout this whole meeting, and our team organizers will answer you as you ask questions. So there are no silly questions. Please, feel free to jump in and ask whatever's on your mind. Yeah, so Ramon, I'll let you take it away and sort of talk about, what is the heart of the Love Fridge and the mission?
Heart of the Love Fridge. Love is everything. Love is abundant. The glue that connects us, and here we are because of it. And the whole thing is about bringing people together, community, bridging, solidarity, mutual aid, and food and love are synonymous. And when you're when your foundation is met, you can do anything. Food is an essential thing and that we need. And I got inspired while living in Brooklyn. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I mostly spent my time in South Chicago, Ashburn, Uptown, and West Englewood coming up. And moved to Brooklyn earlier in the year to help a friend out. I got inspired, definitely was already immersed in food and was trying to find ways to get further immersed in food because I knew I would be visiting Chicago for the month of July. Came across the fridge movements online. The first one that sparked me was in Brooklyn where I was based. I went to one and stocked it, asked how to get down, but with the intention of bringing it home to Chicago. And yeah, so it all started off from Facebook initially, my personal page. Started putting a call out. From there, took it over, woke up the next day with a Love Fridge and the name, opened an email account, opened an IG account. Some of our members that are present now jumped down immediately asking what they can do or how we can get it going. And that's Manny, Flatlands Press here, Lisa Armstrong as well, and James Worm, and Ash too, and Charlotte later, and Steph, and a few other people that are involved here from the jump. But yeah, here we are. We're helping to build a strong infrastructure and sustain in the community. And yeah, it's actually like 3 months today. 3 months, I believe. Say 3 months. Yeah.
Things are moving super fast, and so we definitely need all the help we can get. And again, there's like a core group of like 15 of us that kind of keep the engine running, but we need, all the help we can get. So please feel free to jump in and volunteer. And, recently someone asked me, how did you get organized and decide like what everyone was going to do? And I just sort of said, we figured out what our interests were as individuals and like what our skill sets were. And we ended up dividing everyone into those teams based on the skills and interests. And, volunteering for the Love Fridge is not just about putting food in the fridge. That's a huge part of it. But it's also about working on graphics. It's about building not only structures, but community partnerships. It's doing food distribution. It is fridge checks. So our question is, what do you all like to do? What are your interests? How can you use your time and skills for helping people in this Love Fridge movement? So we're going to go ahead and jump right into that. There are several different ways to help out and several different teams. So find where you fit in, and we need you. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. We'll go ahead and answer them, even if someone's talking about something a little different than what your question has to do with. Go for it. We'll continue to answer.
I believe a question came up, how many fridges? That's a little, it's like between 12 and 20 or something like that now, because we got the big Kids Fix thing, and we can go on that later, but yeah.
We'll answer via text in the chat. And then at the end, we might run over and we might go short. So that's why we're doing all the questions in the chat. But at the end, if you guys have questions you want to ask any one of us, we'll be happy to answer in person. So let's talk about teams. We'll start with the build team. So I'd like to introduce James, who is the lead on our build team.
What's that? Hi, I'm James, and I'm James Worm. I live in Little Village. I also host the first fridge that we had up and running. And I would say the longest part about getting it set up was actually building a structure to host it. And so, I have a home and I've got a garage with a bunch of rusty tools, and I was able to kind of shackle something together using like old materials. But as we wanted to start expanding out, we decided, I decided, I suppose, that we wanted to have something a bit more structurally sound. So we put out a call for supplies, and we have donations. So we were able to start purchasing plywood, for example. We like 2x4s and 2x2s. And I have this very rough design. And if you visited any of our fridges, you've probably seen one or two of them. I call my fridge the Love Shack, and really these are some ramshackle operations. But for the most part, the goal is just to protect them from the core elements. And then we are also learning that, it's not just a need for a Love Fridge, but a Love Pantry of sorts. And that's why we have these dry goods shelving available as well. That and we also realize in the COVID era that a way to minimize contact with some of these is to even just have a glass door so you can see if there's anything of interest. So there, it doesn't just, you know, you don't need to interact as much with it if you're not interested in, you know, baby food. But so with the building team, there's quite a few of us. For example, you know, I built a few of them. We have Colin. I don't have a photograph, but he built that one at Moreno's. But we have Lindsay who created the door for it. You know, there's different ways to contribute. You know, we want to build these structures, but there's also, we want cabinets that need to be put inside, and we're looking for anything that we can also kind of rat proof. I tend to wrap mine in like a chicken wire that I think will keep the rats out from the edges. And then Evan right now is building the structure for Star Farms and installing it hopefully this weekend. And then on the right here, we've got Andrea and then Jordan from Alt Chicago, along with a neighbor setting up the Love Fridge. And then this is just before the structure. I didn't get a good picture of the structure yet, but I believe they're painting it this weekend with D. This is their Love Fridge over at Stone Temple. And that's what we're looking for, people who are able to kind of assemble these things, people who may have access to tools that they can, you know, cut large sheets of plywood. We like to use larger sheets of plywood so that we're not, it's more structurally sound to use, you know, full sheets. And I think 2x2s are sufficient. Like these things, you know, the big bad wolf isn't coming for these things. No one's going to blow it down. These will hold up to the wind, and the weight of the refrigerator will kind of keep it relatively sturdy. That these don't have to be these overbuilt structures, but we at least want them to be protected from the rain and eventually the snow. And the fridges should hold up. And that's what we're up to and what we're looking for. You know, there's a lot of people who you know, I already forgot what group it is, but they're setting up voting booths at Daily Plaza, and they're using plywood taken down from a lot of the businesses. And you know, if anyone has access to plywood like that, we'd like to know, and we could use that to build more of these structures. And you know, building voting booths was a terrific use of that. Oh man, Activate Chicago perhaps might have been that group. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. That's what I just discussed. Is indeed we're building the structures, we're getting in place. We want these fridges to be running year round, so we need them protected from the elements. And that's how we roll on the build team. Obviously socially distanced. For the most part, I can build a structure on my own, but I like to have someone on hand to help me install it. And yeah, and we all kind of keep in touch, and we get them painted too, but that would be covered under whoever's talking about the artist. That is me blowing through what I think is covering what happens on the build team. Are there any questions I should answer or look at in the chat, or should we move on to the next team?
One question you
James?
got was, oh, sorry, where you're getting plywood right now, because apparently it's particularly expensive, if you want to answer that one.
So we're buying it. We have gotten some donations, and we've used some. Someone, you know, like Allie finds, but we want to use full sheets because it will start to make the structure more wobbly if we don't. And then I buy 3/8. That's very thin, but it really, as long as we have it covered, we're going to use, you know, we cover it with like a weather safe paint, and then even the roof is going to get like a corrugated plastic. So that's why I don't mind using 3/8. You know, I'm a grown man, but when you start to handle, even for me, like a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch full sheets of plywood at the hardware store, it's hard and it's heavy to install this stuff. And so that's why I lean towards the 3/8. But we take what we can get that's usable, and like a plywood, not like a, you know, masonite's probably not going to cut it, and an MDF board is not appropriate for being exposed to the elements. Any other questions?
Another question we got is, are you looking for people that already have experience, or are you open to teaching?
I am open to teaching. Yeah, I'm absolutely open to teaching. I've considered how to apply, maybe develop some kind of training structure. But as we're approaching the winter, primarily I work in my yard, and so I don't think a lot of people are going to be interested to, you know, in sub-zero temperatures, watch me teach them how to do it, use a table saw. But in the spring, as we kind of ramp up, that might be something I will, you know, look into.
Does anyone else have any?
Another
Yes.
question is if we have materials to donate, such as large street supply, sheet metal, 2x4 screws, is there a specific place where they can donate that?
You can contact us and we'll come pick it up. Or you're welcome to bring it to my house. That'd be great. But I'm happy to drive over. I've got a van and I can pick up these materials. Absolutely. We will definitely accept plywood donations and any of these other materials. I want to be clear though that we need materials that are suitable for building. So, if 2x4s and 2x2s, but like longer than 6 feet, it isn't structurally sound to build these things piecemeal. Should we, and so that's all I have questions, and I'm glad to answer them. Maybe we can move on to the next group, and people can contact me, by the way. I'm James Worm. I'm on Instagram, but I'm also part of the Love Fridge. You can contact us via the Love Fridge email, thelovefridgechicago@gmail.com, and things can be directed to me, and I'm happy to respond. I do see a question about a permit, and no. Maybe I should be more careful about this, but, well, for example, my Love Fridge is on my private property, and it faces the sidewalk, and it is accessible to my neighbors. It's powered by my own garage, and we look to partners and hosts that can also maintain these things in a publicly accessible manner, but also on their private property. And not every fridge meets that criteria, but that's what we look for. And we're open to alternative ideas, and we're certainly interested in more about the permit process, but we haven't gotten that formalized in how we do this. I've gotten way off topic. All right, I'm going to stop. Who's next?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that this whole thing is a huge experiment. I mean, there are community fridges all over the country, but everyone is really, this is just getting started in the last couple of months. I'd say 5-6 months. So, it's just, we're kind of doing it and see how it goes. So thank you, James. Appreciate it. And if anyone's interested in helping James build or doing any sort of build work, again, you can contact us at our email, thelovefridgechicago@gmail.com, or we have Facebook and Instagram. DMs are cool. We're really responsive. So next, I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to Risa and Amanda, who lead our food distribution team, which is a super important aspect of the Love Fridge.
Hey everybody, I'm Risa. So in terms of food distribution, we run a couple of big donations twice a week, one on Wednesdays and one on Fridays. And I'm always looking for more people who have an SUV or a car that holds a sizable amount, so that we can make sure if we have any of the delivery people who get sick, or somebody's car breaks down, or have an emergency or anything like that, that we can maybe have like a jump in or a stand in. I'm always able to, push myself to have an SUV. I always take more and push more too. But that's only one part of what we're doing with our vehicles, is the distribution part. The other part is we also do pick up fridges, and we sometimes move fridges to other people who need fridges. That's kind of an ongoing thing, where we try to kind of repurpose refrigerators to other families or communities that find themselves in need of a refrigerator when someone else is getting rid of one. And then we're also doing some mini fridge pop-ups that are going to be coming up here, and we definitely will be reaching out to our volunteer base for coordinating that, because we're going to be taking refrigerators directly to people's houses, mini fridges to people's houses. So I have a list of people and like what kind of vehicles they have and their days of availability, and it's old school, it's written down on paper. So we always need stuff like that, but food distribution is a big deal, and as we build more partnerships, we do need even more people in communities where we can like kind of put a call out that day where we say, somebody will email the Love Fridge, and Ash will get an email like this last weekend where they said they had like loads of eggs that they needed to get rid of, and a volunteer jumped right in and was able to run off and get those eggs and get them into fridges. And sometimes it's just like that timely, so we understand not everybody is able to just like drop everything and go pick something up from a location, but if that is something that you're able to do, I am very thorough in my like question asking when somebody reaches out and says they're interested in helping out with food donation. I do a pretty thorough intake with them, kind of one-on-one. And I'm also available to talk on the phone if like texting back and forth isn't your thing. But the one other thing about food distribution that we do is we try to do a pretty extensive flyering campaign where we coordinate that with our food distribution. We're starting to really get that in motion now, where we have posters and flyers that have the maps locations on them, so that we can go around to different, telephone poles or trees or anything in the neighborhood that you can tack up or staple or tape something onto to let people in the neighborhood know that there is a community fridge nearby. At this point, our communities are pretty, I think the word is out. I feel like the word is out. There were a couple that were like a little slow getting started, but I definitely think that some of our fridges that are tucked away in neighborhoods like Star Farms is a little bit tucked away. But I think it's getting, from my experience, getting accessed a lot more now. Food is moving through there a lot. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just get the food that people have to the communities that, the food that where they really need it. All of our fridges all of our outdoor 24-hour access fridges are very accessed. So if you ever go do a fridge management thing, you'll see a lot of times they're empty. And so, one of the ideal things would be, if we're doing food distribution, if we know we're going to be doing that we all, like, I always buy a case of, this is just me, I'm not saying anybody has to do this, but I always buy a case of water from Costco every time I go, and I leave it in my car. And every time I hit a fridge, I just throw like 10 waters in that fridge. So that's just like, little things that get added into your food distribution. If your friends and family have food that they want to get rid of that is good still, taking that from them and distributing it into fridges. There's a lot of little logistical parts to that, but I think we run it pretty well. We're able to get a lot of food to a lot of people a few times a week, but we're always looking for more partnerships. And I think Steph's going to end up talking about partnerships in a minute, but we're always looking for, more really solid regular partnerships where we can get some food donations, and just keep our, support our communities. Now that people know that these fridges are available, they are, like I said, they're getting access a lot. And that shows the needs in the communities that they're in. So it just makes us want to funnel even more food to the fridges.
And I think that adding on to that, Risa, is winter is coming, and so we want everyone to still, even when it's not nice outside. I know Risa wants people to just still be participatory and excited, even if it's shitty out. So even if anyone in this town hall doesn't have a vehicle or want to help with distribution, if you have friends that might be interested, I'd say definitely email us. I'll pass it along to Risa. And it's definitely very important. And especially as we're growing and building more partnerships, I think we're going to have more food, hopefully. So we need more boots on the ground.
Yeah, and we've got it down to a pretty good science too. I mean, I don't expect people to run all over the place. We've really kind of, as we've set up fridges, we've identified clusters. Nobody would really ever have to go to all the fridges. I mean, we're pushing 15 fridges from way up on the northwest side all the way down south to Indiana, almost Indiana, the border. So that's not realistic. And so we've kind of identified groupings of refrigerators that sort of make sense to get from one to the other in a pretty easy way. So even if you were doing food distribution throughout the winter months, it's not intended to be an all-day thing. That's why we really need just a lot of volunteers, and it might not be something that you end up needing to do every week, which is great, because that would be some, Wednesdays or Fridays, you'd have your day free. You wouldn't be running food around all day. But, I do try to look at the month in advance and schedule everybody out based on their availability, and also based on their interest in how far away they want to go. So, I'm not a tyrant. So if you don't want to drive all the way to almost Indiana, I understand.
I feel like it's something we definitely are trying to work with everyone and just make it as easy as possible. Is there anything you want to add? I don't know if there's any specific questions for Risa about distribution. But if there is later on, again, email us or DM us or ask us in the chat and we can go back.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do because you do end up with a decent amount of community engagement. So, you know, there are fridges where you're filling the fridge and, you know, the abuelitas are coming up and like taking milk out of your hands. So sometimes it's just, you know, you get community engagement. You get to see what the community that you're helping. And so it's a really impactful part of the entire Love Fridge operation.
Thank you. Appreciate you. And Amanda as well. You guys do really hard work and are out there a lot. So, okay, we're going to move on to the next team, which is, we'll bring it back to Velma. This is important as well, flyering and service days.
Yeah, so essentially flyering and service days go hand in hand. The idea is that with the community partners, which you'll hear about after me, is with those community partners, we kind of set up days where we work hand in hand with them and any event that they have, and we show up. And we not only give flyers, but we also help actively in the community. So it's basically like if you went to high school and you had to do your hours for community service, right? It's the same idea, and we just really want to be inside of the community and not just placing a fridge there and saying, hey, here's this fridge, try to keep up with it. We want to actively be in the community, and service days is that. And winter is going to look a little bit different, but we're still going to try our best to get in those communities and help out wherever we can as a collective team. And that's a little bit about service days.
Thank you, Velma. And I think flyering, it's like so, you know, it's like old school, but it's been a huge part of our mission and the way we've kind of got our ball rolling. I mean, social media has been a huge tool for us, but also like the paper flyers provided by Flatlands Press, you know, has been super important for us too. So if you want to hand out some flyers or put them in your neighborhood on light poles or trees in your neighborhood, that's easy. We can get those to you. Then now we're going to move on to our partnerships and community relationships, another huge part of the Love Fridge. And Dee, Steph, and Molly can take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Molly. Thank you all so much for joining and hanging out with us. Yeah, so community is obviously very central and core to everything that we do. You know, we do it for the community, but we also can't do it without the community's ongoing support. And this is kind of an area that, you know, a lot of folks in our core team and then, you know, the larger Love Fridge group all kind of touch and support, whether it's identifying neighborhoods and hosts or artists. But, you know, there's a smaller group of us that really are trying to elongate and like deepen our relationships with community organizations, individuals, businesses. And Velma put it really beautifully that, you know, we don't just want to open a fridge in a neighborhood and then just, you know, have, you know, random members kind of coming in and checking on it. We want to build lasting relationships with individuals, businesses, and other mutual aid groups who have been in those neighborhoods and long been doing the work to support their community. And this will just help us, you know, further sustain our mission and, you know, allow us to do even more. Dee, Steph, do one of you want to jump in?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Dee. Just to kind of piggyback off of what Molly said was to deepen our connections with our communities because each community needs different things. So maybe stocking one with more corn or more veggies, depending on what the community needs. And also maybe doing some supply drives that can help the different communities as well. So it's just, and maybe even some mini fridges for some families. So really just going deep into the different communities to see exactly what their needs are right now and making sure we can meet those where they need the most.
Yeah, I think Dee, Molly, you both said it best, but kind of going off of what both of you said, relationships are so important, and not only are relationships like partnerships important, but also getting to know these people in these communities and doing so in an immensely intentional way, where we also want to uplift community members that have already been doing this. That way they can also keep helping families in need in their community. So I guess some people that we're working with right now that are amazing, our Grocery Run Club, they're kind of our first partnership. They've been so great. We're also working with Brave Space Alliance, Urban Growers Collective. They've all been really great to us and only have shown us support from the beginning. We're also working with Feed the Crib. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting so many other people, but those are kind of the people that have really stuck with us through the beginning, and we also want to be there to uplift them and just get anyone that wants to get involved.
And I'll just say, you know, if anyone here knows of any beneficial partnerships for the Love Fridge, whether it be, you know, mutual aid groups or even, you know, food banks or pantries or grocery stores that would be willing to work with us, we're definitely.
Farmers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I totally forgot
Farms,
to
yeah.
add that. Farmers, they are so important to what we do. We're
Yes.
actually working on an initiative right now, which is stocking mini fridges with Black and brown farmers' produce. And we want to pay for that in full because we want to support these farmers so that we can support other people in need. So yeah, I do want to add on that farmers are so essential to what we do. And not grocery stores, literally Chicago farmers in the South and West Side.
Absolutely. And I will just emphasize Black and brown farms. And again, giving equity to, you know, these farms and continuing to do that is very important for our mission. So does anyone have any questions about like community and partnerships? If not, I will move on to, we have 2 more teams, and the next team is design team, which is, you know, super, again, I'm saying everything is really important, but it really, all these teams are so important, but design has been huge, you know, for catching the eye of people like yourselves. So Manny and Lisa lead the design team, and I'll hand it over to you guys.
Hey, I'm Lisa. I'm based in North Center right now. So I'm part of the design team, and a lot of people mentioned doing flyer campaigning already. So just getting the word out as far as like, where is a fridge and how might you access it? We try to make sure, try to have them be 24/7 as much as possible. But for those that aren't, we want to like indicate that and make sure folks are aware. So we develop anything from like signage based on whatever a community might need or a particular fridge might need. And let's see what we do, just like kind of whatever design related things might be needed. So digital assets for social media, things for the website, working on like the map, and there's a pretty small team of us where we kind of rotate out roles. But our big kind of need right now that we could definitely use help with is just more people kind of working on graphics that might be interested, that might have that kind of skill set or interest. And what we've done is try to create some templates too, so that it's easy to create assets that, you know, you're not spending a whole lot of time having to kind of like reinvent the wheel and make them. And also getting flyers up in areas too. So making them is one thing, but also getting the word out is something we could definitely use additional support with too. And let's see. We try to do like a 3 to 6 day kind of turnaround to have like reasonable expectations for folks. We understand that volunteers have jobs and lives, and so we want to be respectful of that too. But yeah, I'll let Manny kind of talk a little bit more about the work that we do.
Hi, everyone. So I work in concert with Lisa. I mean, this whole project is an amplification of other movement of other organizations, and I feel like that's what I try to do within the design team is amplify what the mission, help to problem solve. So for us, design isn't just the visible; it's also the why. A lot of things I think we're trying to answer is the why, and we're kind of good there. So we need more help with um, just like people that can help us fulfill the why now. So sometimes, like she said, like doing digital canvassing and the like, but also depoting people that can be more embedded in these particular neighborhoods, so that over time the voice of that neighborhood can reflect on the printed matter that we do and where that printed matter might be. We like to make stuff that like feels good and like makes people and just draws people into the community work that's being done. So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Thank you. And again, we're always looking for people that have design experience and want to help out. So contact us if you know of anyone who might want to join the team or if you yourself would like to join. And then our last team is web design and copywriting. And I'll go ahead and throw that over to Charlotte. Go ahead, go for it. I think Andy, but Andy is not here. So Charlotte.
Hello, everyone. I won't spend too long on this. I think the other teams are a little bit more important, but unfortunately in 2020, we also need a website. So that's the thing that we do. We're trying to make it robust now so that people like yourselves can actually go there and like figure out how to like get involved and how to do things. I think right now it's kind of informational, but we want to make sure that it's actually like a place that people can go to get the information on kind of how to get involved with us. So if you have any interest in like web design, copywriting, hit me up and, we can work together on that. I think another thing that's not directly related to web design and copywriting, but I'm just going to throw it in here right now, since that was short, is that if anybody is just interested, if anybody has like an idea that they're interested in executing with us, for example, something we've talked about is creating neighborhood guides for the different fridges. So, I hate to say like content creation because that sounds corporate. But if there's something that you're really passionate about doing with us, something that you want to make for the digital realm, that's also something that we're super interested in. I think we have a lot of ideas, but not enough time to execute on all of them. So we're always looking for hands to kind of jump in and help, and are always also open to hearing other ideas. So that's that.
Great. That was nice and fast. We're getting so good at Zoom, you guys. So now let's wrap it up. And I guess, there are a bunch of different ways you can join and help the Love Fridge. Again, and not, if you don't want to specifically join these teams, managing and maintaining these fridges is also like very, very important, especially winter is a big scary beast for us. Okay, we've got the shelters built and we've kind of done everything we can do, but like keeping people interested in going out and cleaning the fridges and stocking them when it's 3 degrees outside is it's going to be a hurdle. So if you'd like to volunteer to clean the fridges, stock them in the coming months especially, that would be amazing. Ramon, I'm going to throw it over to you because Ramon has an initiative for winter to start collecting mini fridges from people. And we're going to stock them, as Steph said, full of produce and then distribute them to families in need. So Ramon, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got you. I see Manny want to say something real quick. You want to say something? Go ahead, Manny.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we have a solid team, and we're still working on things because that's how this goes. Right. But the idea is that as we grow, we need the support. We need support because for this to be sustainable, the idea is for it not to weigh any one person down. So the more people offer a little bit of their time, like the less taxing it can be, because this isn't something we want to go away anytime soon. So we're realistic about that, and we're trying to be ahead of that curve. and be ready for that kind of exhaustion in individuals. So when we say we want your support, we really mean that, like that you become part of a team that's more than just some of its parts.
Right. Yeah. Like I always say, we're young and strong. We just made 3 months. It seems like a short time and a long time simultaneously. So we're just really, really open to the community and further building and bridging. You know, that's what we're about. So please think about whatever resources and bring it forward, and we'll continue to build. Yeah, as far as the mini fridges that Ash was mentioning, we are taking those, we're redistributing them. It was kind of mentioned earlier by Steph and others. And since now we're just focusing on sustaining these fridges we have, a lot of energy is going to that and families that need them, and they're aligning with our food drives and food and clothing drives that we're proposing. So yeah, hit us up at thelovefridgechicago@gmail. You can inbox us direct on IG as well. And I also have a personal one at Radius, etc. at RADIUSETC. If you want to go on inside and shoot one our way. And yeah, we're just focusing on getting them to families in need as well. So, and stocked, like as was mentioned earlier, from urban farmers throughout the city, Black and brown, indigenous. Yeah. I can't hear.
Sorry, that was my fault. Thank you so much. We recorded this Zoom, and we will be posting the link to our link tree probably sometime tomorrow. So if you have any friends that couldn't make it, or if you would like to review any of this information, it'll be available. And then what's the time? We've got 15 minutes or so, right? Or more than that, 20 minutes? If anybody has any questions or wants to unmute themselves and chat face to face, go for it.
Awesome, by the way. I'm happy. We did a really good job.
It was a fun job. Excellent
We
work
usually
of,
go overtime,
yeah.
not to scare you guys from joining meetings with us, but this is rare.
Does anybody
They're
want to
long.
introduce themselves or sort of talk about like their initiatives or groups they're part of, or if there's any questions, please. We're really friendly, I promise.
Yeah, come on. We're loving food. I mean, what else could you want? You know what I mean?
Hey, Risa, with the food distribution, because it's a Wednesday and Fridays, like you mentioned, like the USDA or something, but that could potentially become a larger. We could eventually get more from them if we have the ability to actually take it from them. Is that part of it?
Well, so no, right now we could get more tomorrow. I mean, we could get more every week for at least the next 4 weeks while they have an excess. What we don't have right now is all of our fridges online. So, right, I've asked for more boxes than we need. I always do. I figure that if I stick boxes in people's cars, they will figure out how to make it all fit in the fridge. Also, like, for instance, in Little Village at your spot and at Moreno's, when I took the USDA boxes there last week, people were just taking food right out of the boxes. So I tripled the number of boxes I requested for those 2 locations. So last week I sent 2 boxes to each, and this week I'm sending 6. I think that'll, maybe get Moreno's and the Love Shack through the evening. Maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But that is just a special deal that we have for this month, and it might extend into next month, but we won't know that until the last week of the month, when the group that we get those boxes from finds out what their manifest for November will be. And that's a government program, so that could extend into next year. Who knows? It's a program that Trump set up, or his administration set up, I believe, to make sure that the food that would normally be going to going from farms to like schools and colleges and corporate cafeterias and all these places that would normally have like a standing order food. They don't have any of that stuff right now. So the going to work this thing out where I'm sure it's being subsidized by the government by us. But for the, these charities and not-for-profits to get these massive amounts of boxes, and then we distribute them, or, we get lucky, we get the overage. So hopefully we'll be able to tap into a network that gets those really regularly if this one doesn't work out, but I think it probably will. I think this one will end up working out. We'll just find out soon. We won't know until the end of the month. We're always looking for more large donations and relationships like that, though. So if anybody's on this Zoom call right now that knows of a big group that wants to get rid of a ton of food every week, let us know.
And somebody asked about the far south side. We do have in South Chicago, 105th, 10th Ward. We also do have Fresher Together. Chef Fresh has one South Chicago. She's also South Shore. We are working on East Chatham, Inglewood, and a few other out south. And I just want to add also, we're definitely open and love the private chefs or the other food companies that do prepared food. We have had some partners donate that, and we're open to that. So if people do know chefs that prepare awesome food, especially plant-based, or if they label it, then we will take that as well. Just putting that out there. Feel free to donate that. Fresh Together, yes, Chef Fresh.
Yeah, Chef Fresh will have 2 locations. She'll have one at her business, Fresher Together, so that'll be like a access when she's there kind of thing. And the other one is the one we're building a shelter for this weekend, and that is, I believe, on 74th Street in South Shore. So, and that one after Saturday should be live. So it'll be a 24/7 access right on the sidewalk on her property.
But if you went there today and you could just pick anything out of her community garden, she's got plots all over her space that you can just get vegetables from at right now if you wanted. But there'll be a fridge there and more access to things there by next week.
Yeah, but if you live in South Shore and you need some tomatoes or some kale or anything like that, stop by. It's right in her front yard. She encourages people to take it.
I just want to briefly mention Slack. I don't know if we really touched on it much, but we do operate directly with each other we have a Zoom meeting once a week, but we also communicate through Slack where we have team channels. So for instance, like the build team has a channel, graphics has a channel. So if you are interested in joining our Slack, distribution calls to action are directly probably first and foremost put there. So if you'd like to join our Slack, just you can email us and or DM us your email address. We'll invite you via email, and then we can sort of let you know how we utilize Slack. But if you're interested in being more directly involved with the volunteers in the group, Slack is a great way to do that. Instagram's a little removed. We still communicate, but Slack, you can kind of be directly involved with everyone.
Ash, would you say that we overlap? We're mutual aid. We're doing this because we want to help our communities. And within that, we focus on our skill sets, but there's a tremendous amount of overlap where people do, we're not robots, and we're all equals. And with that comes there will be overlap if you want to be involved. That's something you should be aware of. We'd appreciate overlap because
Manny doesn't just do design. He's also helping get the shelter for Chef Fresh up. We're all kind of have our hands in all the baskets. So you can also just be involved in general. You don't have to just do one thing.
Yeah, and communication too. Honestly, I think community, us really fermenting our relationship within these communities is going to take time. But it also means the engagement of people like yourselves that live in these communities, helping with that, helping build stronger rings of bark on the tree.
Yeah, I would say next to the primary, the main goal of getting food to people is establishing this community, these connections. Dismantling the segregation of our city is a tough one, but this is a strong way to do it. You know what I mean? And like our team is very diverse, and on top of that, these communities that we're involved in are diverse communities, and we can put their hands together with food. This is why I believe another reason we're here. So let's be like open and direct and communicate and keep going. So we're open.
I want to open up the floor just one more time in case anybody's thinking about asking a question or introducing themselves a little more. Anybody?
Hi, I put a question in the chat, but it might have gotten lost. But I was wondering if y'all have like any relationships with older people that like with that have sorry, it says my connection's unstable. Can you hear me? Cool. Yeah. I know it's pretty spontaneous mutual aid, but I was just wondering if you guys had that and like what that looks like, if that's something you guys are interested in the future or not at all.
Could you please repeat the question?
I think they asked if there was, we have a connection with older people. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the support of some aldermen. In a couple months ago, one of them actually wanted to do a fridge at their office in Little Village. So we have mild relationships. I think we're definitely open because if we have their support, there's really no fear in placing a fridge in a specific area, right? But I don't think we are a group that seeks out government approval.
I would say though that we are overlapping relationships within these other mutual aid groups and organizations gives us the proper face with these statesmen, if that makes any sense. Like we're not reinventing the wheel. We're amplifying things that already exist. So those folks back us up. You know what I mean? To keep it simple, we got backup. We're not out here telling, on our own.
And I know Manny, we've talked about before, like Chicago is the original Gotham. Like if you have the support of the community, like government doesn't really want to F with you too much. It's just because, they don't want to piss people off. I mean, they will. I don't want to give them.
Not when they need votes though.
We have a question about how to join the Slack.
I just posted a link that you can click
to
join it. Just a note on that quickly. Oh, I keep it to Jordan privately. Only you got it. Let me send it again. Okay. So we have a Start Here channel. Highly recommend reading the resources there first. And then we have an intros channel where you can kind of give like a brief overview of what you're interested in doing, something like a little bit about yourself. And then we have a bunch of different, you can join as few or as many as you want, just based on what you're interested in. But definitely, start with the Start Here channel to kind of get info on how to navigate the Slack. And I think first and foremost, just message any of us if you're overwhelmed or confused, and we can guide you, because it is a lot when you're new to it. But it works out really well for us once we kind of get the hang of it. So.
And we've streamlined it too. It used to be even more confusing, but we really are trying to make it like, channels are pretty, you can find your way. It's not, I wouldn't say it's as hard as it used to be. But yeah, you can, if you, the link is in the chat, but if you need to email us or DM us, again, like go for it. Don't be shy. We can always resend the link. Anybody else?
Does anyone have any interest in hosting a fridge? Or at least finding a connection of someone who could be a host? That's always a need. Did we talk about that in this call yet?
No, that's a great
hosting.
I should mention, we are going to slow down because winter is coming on placing fridges, just because we want to make sure all these fridges that we do have up like last the winter, again stressing that winter is terrifying. You know, it's all an experiment, and Chicago is one of the coldest cities that's doing these fridges. So once spring is back, like spring is here, we'll try to continue to place more fridges.
Yet, if you want to host your own, we're here to support you. Yet, by all means,
Absolutely. You know,
holler at James.
we can talk about, you know, because primarily we're looking for someone who can host a fridge on their private property but still public facing, because mine is behind my garage and between the alley but facing the sidewalk, and that you can run power to it. Mine as gets powered by my garage, and then you know, we can work with you on building a structure for it to make it weatherproof or weather safe at least. And then we can get you like hooked up with the network for getting supply runs and talk about what it takes to maintain and get managers that can also work with you for those fridges.
I want to say something really quick. I just noticed something I've never noticed before in your space. You have that chair over there, man.
Oh, yeah.
That chair. Oh, my God. Dude, what? All right, I got to go.
I positioned it because I didn't like how bright the bathroom light was coming into the screen, so it's my screen.
It's a peacock chair, yeah?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yo. Phenomenal.
You bugging. You stay bugging.
I want to get rid of it. It's blocking. I turned this basement into my office, and now it's just like this weird big chair that I'll never sit in.
Hold on now.
I'll
take that chair too.
Hey, hold on now. I noticed the chair.
I'll hold that chair down.
I noticed that chair first now. Y'all calm down. Okay.
You don't even live here.
I don't live here? I don't live here?
What are you gonna do? You gonna check that chair?
No.
I was gonna hold it for you. See?
So we'll hold it for you. Exactly.
We'll just hold it down.
No, I don't live here.
We gave James a chair a long time ago. He owes us a chair. I'm kidding, James.
Okay, I agree with you there. Hey. Whoever said I don't live here,
hold it down.
it's not true.
That was me.
Whoever wants that chair can fight my husband for it.
You could live here if you wanted to.
How about I do live here?
That chair's not going anywhere.
Oh, man.
The chair is only moving a few feet.
I like that.
About as far as that chair is moving.
The only good thing about it is how lightweight it is. I think I could swing hard enough to knock it over.
All right, let me just get my Huey P. Newton shot in there, and I'm good. All right, is that cool with y'all? You know what I'm saying?
Someone said to sell the chair so we can stock some fridges. Smart. Okay, well, I mean, I'll give it a couple more seconds for anyone to chime in. But I hope you all take something away from this town hall. I think we'll try to do this again. Again, we're recording this, so we'll post it. Please reach out to us and help where you'd like. And if you can't join the teams, like specifically, like please continue to like stock fridges, managing fridges. You can sign up to clean a fridge anytime. It could be one time, it could be 100 times via the link tree in our Instagram bio. So those things are also extremely important. We have to keep these fridges clean in case we ever run into any, issues with the community. We want it to be safe and clean and healthy. So having eyes on these fridges is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And we can't, unfortunately, be there every single day. So thank you all for coming. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
We really appreciate it. Thanks for showing some interest, and we hope you continue to follow us and stay and get involved in.
I want to say, too, if you go on Spotify, there's a playlist I put together called The Love Fridge Food is Love Volume 1. If you want to go on Spotify, it's a whole bunch of love and food-related songs for you to jam out to. You know what I mean? Get the festive feelings of stocking the fridge and making babies. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Wild. Oh, by the way, we're gonna release some totes like this weekend to raise funds, and they're really awesome.
Yeah, we have magnets. We have fridge magnets and totes.
Yeah, and they're really awesome. You can put things in them while you listen to the
food in them.
mix. We can put food in them.
Yes.
Coming and going from locations.
Yes.
So look, we'll post that on the IG and all the rest of Faceplant and all the rest of those.
And I guess we should say also, like, all funds we make and collect, we don't get any of that money. That all goes towards fridge related stuff. We don't pay for gas, nothing.
Yep.
So, we're just, again, trying to sustain and give, put equity back into our communities. And that's very important for us.
Feed our neighbors.
Feed our neighbors. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Love everyone. Bless.
There's that chair.
There's that chair, man.
Oh, it's a beetle. There's a beetle pillow.
Ooh, he's just teasing now. He knows what he's doing.
Hey,
With the great lighting and all too.
I got cobs on that chair, yo. Hey,
He's got the boho too.
Out of my way, man. I'm out of here.
I want the beetle. I want the beetle pillow though.
I'm really close.
You know that Reese's jam. The scarabs are Reese's jam.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. I'm actually like eating dinner with my friends, 20th and Cullerton, so I ain't too far. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're in the neighborhood.
Oh. What are you gonna do? Strap it on your back?
I was just.
Hey, I'm gonna find somewhere to put it.
I believe he would.
Put it in his left pocket. Just have it all swollen.
In his left pocket.
Thank you. I'm gonna.
Good night, y'all.
This is out of
Good night, everyone.
All right,
Thank you.
Peace out. All right.
Peace. Good night.
Good night.